Good morning, everybody. It's Kula from RawStocks. We have another edition of the pre-market prep this morning, covering everything from NVIDIA to Tesla to the S&P, and also we're going to cover LLY, which is Lilly. So that's been super bullish and super trendy, but is it going to stop? We think so. We're going to get covered into that after this little transition. Do a quick shout out to our sponsors, Black Box Stocks and GammaEdge. Without those guys, we would not be able to provide this to you every single day. So appreciate that. Make sure you go support them with the links in our bio. Okay, so yesterday, we saw another little inside day here. Just kind of waiting and deciding what's going to happen. Today's the biggest headliner really is that NVIDIA has its earnings today. That's going to really dictate kind of which way we head from here. Okay. So there is a lot to be said about NVIDIA, but we already went over the earnings. So if you want to listen to the earnings, go to YouTube and go watch our video from yesterday. This one's meant to be short and sweet today. So we're going to power right through this. So I'll pull up the data again. SPY looks bullish. SPX looks bullish, right? So currently we stand somewhere right around yesterday's close, right near that range, that 645 area, which is about equivalent to say 6460 in this range right here. Okay. So this is where we stand. So right here, we have a pivot point for us for a potential early drop. And that would be dropping from 6460 to potentially all the way down towards 6445 and potentially down towards 6440. I lean heavily towards the bullish side of this as we're in the full complex here. We're at the top side of our transitional zone here, which really brings us into a potential next wave up towards 6,500. Okay. So we're watching this kind of saying, all right, hey, are we going to continue to break out from this and continue to trend up? Or are we going to sink back into that transition zone and start chopping it up again? That's kind of what we're watching, right? But everything leads towards a potential breakout towards 6,500. And this has it potentially run us up to 650 on SPY or 6520 on SPX. So, like I said, we're kind of sitting at this point right here, that 6460. That drops us a little bit into our transitional zone, a little bit of a no man's land here. But you break outside of this box here, we could see this thing really start moving. Okay. But inside this box, 6460 to 6445, this is chop zone. Okay. So you're watching this area right here become a chop zone. So watch for some type of containment. If we slip into that, I would not be surprised to see some relative, like let's say we open here and then maybe even try to make a run at that open, maybe get rejected and slip and find ourselves just kind of sitting in here and then making a move and just chopping here. Okay. Be careful for the chop inside this range. We're bullish above this range for a push up towards 6,500. You have to keep an eye on that 6480 area, as that is an area of a potential profit taking multiple times up in this area. Okay. So keep an eye on that area. But that's kind of what we're looking at right here. All right. So you can get short if you see it break down below 6460, using that as your stop. And then you want to look for a target down towards that 6445 area or somewhere in that range. I think if you saw this kind of breakdown towards that 6445 area, you'd really have to be cautious, as it will be a vicious bounce off of there. So make sure you're taking early profits on taking this short here. potentially all the way down towards that 64.50 is probably more likely than anything. All right. All right, and so we've covered that on the SPX SPY. Something similar. Okay, so this kind of goes with the short-term kind of potential topping right here. Potential topping, which is virtually we open and slide. That's kind of what we would expect, right? But we're bullish all the way down here. So this is a total buy the dip type of look here on SPY. This should be down here. Or realistically, my bad. Should be all the way down here. That would be shocking to see us rip all the way down here. Okay, it would be shocking. This is definitely buy the dip type of territory, but we're not looking to buy the dip up here. Realistically, we're looking to buy at 64.60 or potentially all the way back down here. Okay, so keep an eye on that as a pivot point. This is going to be an interesting day. I think we find ourselves kind of slipping before making that move post market with Nvidia. Okay, so let's switch over to Tesla. So Tesla has a huge wall here at 350 that we're starting to see a little bit of a breakout of. All right, we'll pull up the data here. Okay, so full complex, you can see the wall 350 right here. Breaking out over the top of this is very bullish, potentially drawing us up all the way to 360 and potentially all the way up to 370 and 400. The the idea here is that we're looking to see if this is a real breakout or a false breakout. If you look in the smaller time frames like this week, it has us potentially ripping up to 360 today. If that is gonna happen, that will happen fast and in a hurry. Okay, fast and in a hurry. This is going to remain up here, but we need to know 350 positive gamma support here. All right, so this is going to kind of flip on us, and this is realistically a little bit lower, but there's a gamma wall here, but I think we're going to get a flash push up towards 360 before we maybe see a flash sell down on Tesla here. So watch for us to open over 350. If it sells down and gets below 350, that'll be a really good thing for a potential push down towards 340. But if, or excuse me, 342 before seeing some type of bounce. But if not, watch for this thing to run up towards 360, and then we'll see if this thing wants to roll back over towards 350. And at that point, that's a decision maker. So you could have this same thing happen right here, or you could see it bounce and try to get off 350 or chop here. Okay. So just know that's your action item area, right? That's what you're looking for. Me personally, I would be short under 350 at this point. Under 350, you're short, looking to push it down towards 342 and 340 plus. But over 350, you're long, just to be clear. Okay. Moving on to Nvidia. We talked about this being a pivot yesterday. That's 180 being a pivot. It tried to slip it early, and then virtually it pushed up towards that 182.5 area. I told you I thought this was where they're going to make us close before earnings. Well, we got the close right yesterday. I don't think it's going to be much different today than it was yesterday. I truly think that this thing's going to be pinned towards 182.5. Potentially push up to that 185 area, but I think it'll be closer pinned towards that 182.5. So wouldn't be surprised to see maybe this wants to push up towards 185 early, and then maybe even just get capped here or sell down towards that 182.5 area. This is the sweet spot for dealers to sell right here. Okay, we already went over this. You want more of a deep dive, go take a look at it on the last video, but this is a 10% expected move, containment towards the wall here at 200. is really the upside, right? So they're positioned for that. And not much to the downside, but you're looking probably more towards 170 to 155. So when we talk about that, if it's 170, we're well within the 10% range to the downside, which is right here. And then to the upside, right here, 200, no big deal. Both of them within range. But that's if we're positioned here at 182. So wouldn't be surprised to see a bunch of people lose money on earnings, but I might be wrong. We'll see. Nothing special here. Overpriced premiums for a potential big loss if you have to swing it. Avoid Nvidia. If you want to play earnings, play AMD for the sector. Okay, they'll be boosted a little bit, but they won't be boosted like you think. So crazy price action here on AMD the last 3 days. Just wanted to take note of that right there. All right, so we're gonna cover Lilly. I think it's interesting to see this data here. Let's take a look at this real quick. So full complex here, 750 here. Not crazy big, but a decent size, right? A decent size. 750 is right here. Start to get overhead pressure up towards that 770 and 780 area. We take a look at this on the larger scale here. That 770, 780 area puts us kind of in this hard level right here, 774, 780, 770, right in that range. But there looks to be like a potential wall being built here prior to that. So watch this 750 if you're in Lilly. Watch this 750 to act as a rejection here. I may take a pretty heavy short at 750. We're going to set the alert up here. We're going to have it on the watch list and see if this thing wants to play ball, push up towards this, where we can see that there is a wall here, and see if we can scalp maybe a 20, 30% little play here and see if it wants to roll back down for some confirmation towards 740. Okay. Very bullish, very good look here. But I think we have the opportunity for Lilly to maybe find a little bit of the break here. All right, a little bit of the break here at 750. If we smash over 750, this will add a huge squeeze to the market. You'll likely see, well, excuse me, not to the market, but a huge squeeze to the stock. You'll see it drive its price up towards that 780 mark, 770, 780 mark quickly. So 750 is your actual pivot wall for this thing to drive fast and in a hurry up towards 770 to 780. Okay. Don't really see much speculation to the upside. I mean, starting to get some thousands up there, but nothing real crazy just yet. So your main thing that we're eyeballing is 750 here. At that point, there will be some decisions made. All right. Hey, guys, listen, that's going to be it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Make sure you subscribe, follow us, and share this as you can. Show a little bit of support. Even if you're not part of our VIP membership, I want to always make sure that you guys have access to what we do. So every morning we do provide this pre-market prep live in our Discord. You can join that free at RawStocksLLC.com. If you're interested in seeing our alerts, seeing what we do, we have a promo going on right now. It's 7 days for $7. It's a non-subscription based. No gimmicks, no nothing. $7, full access. If you like it, sign up with the subscription. Otherwise, appreciate you guys tuning in. Make sure you're subscribing, and we'll catch you later.